a big rock. I don't know why you would have that in your house, but if you did, we like to be creative. If you happen to have a yoga block, gosh, get that. But if you don't, maybe you have something else that's kind of a little bit elevated, but solid. So don't stack up a bunch of books, because if I ask you to stand on them and then the books slide out from each other and you fall, you'll be angry with me. So don't do that. Something nice and solid that you could stand on. And if we don't do those things,
Sally, I'm going to interrupt you for just 1 second because we have new people that just joined us. And I want to make sure they're in the right place to balance and breathing with Salle Huber. And this is in honor of National Falls Prevention Week. And even though our screensaver says that you can leave your camera off, we would love to see your smiling faces today to make sure that you're being safe about this. But you can leave your mute on as well. We are recording this session and we are actually doing it on Facebook Live as well.
I also always say, even though I consider myself a well-trained and experienced movement teacher, always remember that sadly I am not a doctor. So don't ever think that what I'm saying to you is medical advice. If your doctor has told you don't do X and Sally says do X, you're going to know that your doctor takes precedence over what I say. But, you know, rave like crazy, because I might very well be able to give you a modification that we think your doctor might feel okay with. Never do anything that feels painful, right? We always want you to feel safe.
And if you should have any questions for Sally that she doesn't cover, feel free to wiggle your mouse at the bottom of the screen and in the chat box. I will be happy, if you type your question in there, I will be happy to ask her when she takes a breath in between things.
Yeah, because I can't read that little chat thing from here. And also be sure to let her know if I'm not being loud enough, even though I'm pretty darn loud. Just let me know, Amy.
I will let you know if you are not loud enough. Right now, I hear you very loud and clear. So by my watch, it is 1:03. If you would like to get started, I think everybody else that's coming in can kind of catch up as we go along. What do you think?
Excellent. I agree. Everybody, welcome. My name is Salle Huber. I'm a movement teacher, which means I've been teaching and am fully certified in Pilates. I've been teaching that since 2008. I also am an advanced MELT method instructor, which is about connective tissue health. And I have studied as a restorative exercise specialist. And that really is about biomechanics and movement. Today we're talking about balance specifically, even more than breathing. Today I want to talk about balance. And I think that we kind of have the idea that balance is all about just being able to stand on one leg, you know, strengthen the leg and this kind of coordination thing. But balance is the result of a lot of different mechanisms and practices coming together. So when I am able to stand on one leg, it talks about my ability to align myself properly, because if I stand funky and then I try to balance on one leg, it's going to be way more work for my body. My body's reflexive parts have to be able to communicate with each other in order to pull off something that's a little harder, right? That internal coordination has to be working properly. My alignment has to be good. My feet have to be aligned and a nice broad base of support. They have to be pain-free and they have to be limber and communicative, right? There's something called proprioception, which is my body's ability to know where all of my parts are in space without me looking. Proprioception, the way I describe it, is I want you to imagine what your 9-year-old self was like running down the stairs of your childhood home trying to get to the park to meet your friends. And then I want you to imagine how you are now coming down the stairs of your home to meet your friends outside. Probably when you were 9 years old, you ran down the stairs, maybe in slippery socks. Maybe your hands were on the wall just for fun. You probably never looked down at the stairs and you took them 2 or 3 at a time, right? Your brain was already at the park. Well, we don't tend to have such heightened, well-honed proprioception now as we get older, so we're a little bit more careful. And that's appropriate, but the more we develop our body sense, the better our proprioception can be, so that even though we're still being safe, our body knows a little bit more of where we are in space. The last 2 things we really, really need for balance is strengthen our outer hips and strengthen our booty. Our side or lateral line of our body is important, and the back line of our body is important. Excellent. All right, so if everybody's with me now, remember, I want you to have access to something solid where you feel nice and safe, so that if I ask you, which I'm going to close your eyes, or even to close your eyes and lift one leg off the ground, you have something that you know is going to keep you safe right there in case you feel a little wobbly. I'm going to assume that nobody signed up today who has vertigo, but if you do, you're going to challenge yourself in a way that feels safe for you, but not in a way that triggers any discomfort or symptoms for you. All right, so here I am at my space. I'm going to bring my hands down by my side, knowing where my safety zone is here, and I'm just going to close my eyes. Now, when the eyes are closed, and I want you to do that as well, I want you to close your eyes. When your eyes are closed, you've lost a big balance supporter, and that's your eyesight, your ability to see the horizon line so that you know up from down. As we get older, that might make us feel a little bit more unstable. If we're taking medications, that also might make us feel a little bit more unstable. So simply practicing standing here without holding anything, if we can, with our eyes closed, is a challenge. No question, right? So if I feel myself swaying a little bit front to back or side to side while my eyes are closed, if it isn't too big of a range of motion and it doesn't make me too uncomfortable, I'm going to let that happen, because those reflexive parts of my body are moving me around a little to kind of figure out where I am. I'm triggering that proprioception in my body. So that's okay. I'm just going to stand here and notice it. Now, as my eyes are closed, I'm going to practice working my body sense. So I'm going to try to sense with my eyes closed how my feet feel pressing against the mat or the floor. Does it feel like my left foot and my right foot are doing the same thing? Or is there a big difference in my body sense anyway, what the left and right are doing? Does it feel like all my weight is forward and I'm clenching with my toes? Does it feel like all my weight is back in my heels? Do I feel balanced? Do I feel more weight on the outer edge of my feet? Do I feel more weight on the inner edge of my feet? Don't change anything yet, just notice and get to know who you are, right? Now, what about my ankles? Do you feel your ankles rolling in? Do you feel them rolling out? Do you feel like Robert Redford in Downhill Racer, right? So that your feet are flat, but the rest of your body is hinging forward. Write that in your little virtual science lab. Just notice what your ankles are doing. What about your knees? Does it feel like one knee is bent and one knee is straight? Does it feel like both of your knees are bent or both of your knees are locked? Locked is different than straight. Straight knees are fine. Locked knees mean you're going beyond straight and you're trying to hold yourself up with the ligaments behind your knee. If you're doing that, that's something to notice, but we hope that we can help with that. What about your thighs? Your thigh muscles above your knee. Do they feel tense? Can you relax them? Okay, let's move up to your hips. Does one side of your hips feel higher than the other or more forward than the other? Just notice. Do one side of your ribs feel higher or more forward? Notice that. Shoulders, one side feel higher, one side feel more forward, both of them feel up by your ears, both of them feel rolled forward, just notice. And then finally, we got this big old bowling ball on the top of our body, right? Our head. Ideally, the head is between the two shoulders, but you know, sometimes it's jutting out, or it's a little bit shifted or rotated one way or the other. Just with your eyes closed, get a sense of what you're feeling. Okay? All right, so our first balance is going to be, can I safely keep my eyes closed with my hands down by my sides and lift just my toes? So the balls of your feet are still on the ground, your heels are still on the ground, but your toes are off. Now, if your body weight shifted back when you lifted those toes, you know you were using your toes to stand up more than you maybe thought, right? Did your body tense up anywhere when you lifted those toes? Try to relax all that. My eyes are still closed and my arms are still down, but I'm going to take a relaxing inhale. And on the exhale, I'm going to drop all of my toes at once. Did you sway a little bit? I did. And actually, as I stay here, I'm swaying a little bit still. And I know that that's my reflexive parts, just kind of making sure I land where it wants me to be. And go ahead and open your eyes. I just think I might have lost Zoom. Go around. Guys, are you still with me?
Yep, we're still with you, Sally.
Can you see me? Because I can't see you.
Yep, we can see you. What's going on? All right.
Sorry about that. All right, so the next thing that I want you to do, provided that felt safe, is I want you to come to your counter, okay? Now, eyes open, I want you to lift your left foot off the ground, and we're gonna hold it. Bum, 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 bum. Technically, if I am my very best self today and I didn't go to a margarita party last night, I ought to be able to stand on one leg with my eyes open for 60 seconds, a minute. How you doing? I can't see you, so I'm just going to trust that you're doing fine. My legs are tired, but I'm okay. Now, I'm going to put that down, I'm going to shake myself out, and I'm going to do the other side. You might want to find a focal point on the wall that makes you feel stable. Remember, you do have something to hold on to if you need to, I hope. And I'm going to go ahead and lift that other leg. Right? So 60 seconds, I ought to be able to do this. Do it. I can put both of my hands on my surface, and that's giving me a ton of safety. But what about if I only put one finger down? Would that be enough information for my nervous system to keep me safe? What about 2 fingers? What about if I just tapped my fingers? Would that be enough information for my nervous system to be able to keep me upright? Good. Bring your foot down. Shake it out. I'm going to trust that everybody's okay. So that's not the end of class, now is it? So now what I'm going to ask you to do is locate your safe space, but maybe don't touch it just yet. Make sure that you feel comfortable. Find a focal point on the wall in front of you. Lift up on your right foot. So lift your right foot off the ground and close your eyes. Ooh, that's harder. I'm glad I have my solid space next to me. Now, it's hard for me to talk and balance with my eyes closed at the same time, I'm not going to be able to really hold this for as long as I did with my eyes open, but maybe 30 seconds, right? And I'm going to bring my foot down. How did you do? Let's try the other side. Same rules apply. Yes, I can hang on to this and lift, but I don't know that I need that much support from my stable space. So if I find my focal point on the wall, I lift my left leg. Okay, I'm balancing okay here. I close my eyes, and ever so often I feel like I need a little support. What about if I just put my fingertips down? Oh, that makes me feel way more stable. It's not that my counter is holding me up. It's that touching that counter with 5 fingers gives my nervous system way more information so that it's more able to hold me up. So if I put 5 fingers down and lift them away, 5 fingers down, lift them away, that's enough for me to feel stable. What about if I just do 1 finger down, 1 finger up, 1 finger down, 1 finger up? Put both feet down. Do you see how the counter is supporting you, but it's not literally supporting you. It's just giving you some information. Okay, so now what I want to do is talk about alignment. Remember, we're going to meet today, tomorrow, and the next day. And my hope is that you all will be with me every single day so that we can move forward, learn more things, and learn the skills we need one day at a time to master better balance, okay? So alignment is really, really important, okay? If I stand with crazy alignment, and then I try to balance on one leg, that's gonna be way, way harder than if I keep my head between my shoulders over my hips over my knees over my ankle bones, my ribs smooth against my belly wall, and my feet going forward. And you laugh, but you know, a lot of times our toes and feet are not aimed forward. And if you look down at yourself right now, you might notice that your toes aren't aimed right forward anyway, either. Okay, so I'm gonna scooch just a little forward. I'm gonna move on my crud over here, and I'm gonna talk about feet to start with, okay? If you look at my feet, can you guys see my feet?
Yeah, we can see your feet.
The goal is that my feet fall in a straight line from my hip bones. So I got these 2 hip bones right here. And I want my legs to fall from the hip bones, and my feet are gonna be right under them, right? As opposed to my legs together, or my legs super wide apart. My feet should be falling out from my hip bones. My feet should be facing forward. So if I look at the outer edge of my feet, and I wish I had a Sharpie, tomorrow I'll bring a Sharpie, okay? Woo! I'm gonna show you my legs. So if there's a little pointy bone at the side of your little toe, and there's also a pointy bone, which is your ankle bone, this outer edge of your feet should be straight, right? Like the ankle bone and that pointy bone should be one straight line. It a little bit makes my feet feel like they're turned inward, and yet that's how my feet should be aligned. Toes should be spread wide apart, okay? So let's just play around with our feet a little bit so that they're the best base of support we can be, okay? We can have. So the first thing I want you to do is line up those feet so that the legs are falling out of the hip bones. Make that outer edge of your feet be straight. And then I want you to practice spreading your toes. We're gonna do that 10 times. Can you see my toes? And spreading them apart, and then I'm relaxing. Notice I'm spreading my fingers too, and you might be just reflexively spreading your toes, your fingers too. So our hands and our feet ought to have about the same amount of pliability, but because we've spent time in shoes and our hands have been free, they can do way more than our feet can. So sometimes you know, the hands try to help the feet. Are you still spreading those toes apart? Does it feel like some toes don't want to separate from their next door neighbor? That's really common because they've spent time in the shoes. So this week, what I want you to practice is when you're sitting down or you're on your bed, spread those toes apart and let them know that they're able to be a little bit separate, right? Because they're not always sure. They've been together a long time. All right, let's do 3 more times. 1, 2. Now you're going to spread your toes and you're going to hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Excellent. All right, so here where we are, we're still going to work on our feet. Eyes are open. I want you to rock forward so that your weight is in your toes, and then I want you to rock back so that your weight is in your heels. We're just going to go back and forth. The reason we're doing this is because we want to remind our bodies that we're able to use all the square footage of our feet to hold us up. And sometimes because of our shoes or just, you know, habit, we are only using maybe the outer edge or the inner edge. And so we're just kind of going, no, you know, you can go to the back of the heel and you can go up by the toes. Let's do that 5 more times. I'm not really swaying from the rest of my body. I'm just rocking my body weight into my heels and my toes. Try to keep your toes a little bit spread. Good. All right, now we're going to go the other way. I'm going to roll to the right and I'm going to roll to the left. I'm not bending and extending my knees. My legs are staying straight. I'm just kind of rolling out and in. I can feel it up in my ankles and my lower leg. I even a little bit can feel it in my outer hip. That's fine. Notice where you feel this. Let's do this. 1, 2. If one of these ranges of motions is uncomfortable for you without being painful, then you're going to move carefully, but you're going to know that you need this work. If it hurts, stop. Excellent. All right, come all the way back to center. Good. All right, the next thing I want to talk to you about is your knee alignment and your leg alignment. So keep your feet flat on the ground with your toes spread, but imagine that you're turning your feet out to the sides and then relax them. So basically what I'm doing is I'm keeping my feet on the ground, but I'm externally rotating my leg bone in the hip socket. Do you see what I'm doing? It's like a little dance move. I'm turning out and in, out and in. Let's do it 2 more times. And what happens is when I turn out, it just is helping to a little bit stabilize the alignment of my kneecap. I don't want it to be really extreme, just kind of use this to help you bring your feet into a little bit more of an aligned position. Okay, so now what we're going to do is play with a little bit of ball massage. So remember, I want to use a ball that's sort of soft and smunchy. I'm not looking to torture myself. I'm just looking to mobilize the joints in my feet a little bit more so that my feet get a little bit more movement through the joints than they would in hard shoes, okay? So remember, I've got this squinchy little melt ball, which is a little smaller, or I've got this lovely wool dryer ball. Use what feels safe, maybe a tennis ball. Okay, so I'm gonna take this ball, I have something to hold on to, and I'm going to put the ball right behind the ball mound of my big toe, and I'm just going to step into that. So I just am allowing the ball to change or distort a little bit the shape of my foot, and I can move it around a little bit. It should feel good. It shouldn't be painful. If you have foot or knee issues and you want to do this part seated, that's perfectly fine. And then I'm going to come off, and all I'm going to do is scooch the ball over a little bit. So I'm kind of using the ball and propping it between or just underneath this arch of my ball mound. So I'm just going to kind of scooch it over a little bit. You see how it's changing the shape of my foot? And then I'm going to kind of move it side to side. And then I'm going to step back and I'm going to scooch it over a little bit more. And maybe a little side to side. And back. I think I've got one more spot in me underneath the ball mount.
Okay, Sally, I have to say this one feels the best of everything so far.
Nice, it's nice. So now pick a different spot. Maybe go right at the arch. Don't overdo it though. So now at the arch of my foot is able to kind of just over the foot, right? It's just able to drape itself over the foot. If this feels comfortable, keep the arch there, but lift your toes and curl them. Lift and curl. So the ball is still touching the arch of my foot, but I'm creating this muscle movement there. And then hold and wait. Can you scooch the ball a little bit over in that arch area, a little bit more toward the edge, and do that lift and curl thing? And relax. Excellent. All right, go ahead and get off the ball. Come back to that standing position. Close your eyes and tell me, do you feel different at all on the foot that we massaged compared to the other foot?
It feels more stable.
It feels, right? It's a little bit more comfortable on the ground.
Yeah.
Let's try the other side. So we're going to start right behind the ball mound of the big toe. And I'm just going to let my toes relax, and I'm going to lean into that a little bit. Our poor feet, some shoes are so limiting that they don't get to move at all. And I know that as we get older, sometimes we have issues with diabetes and neuropathy, and we have to be careful of our feet. That's true. But if there's a safe way for the joints to be able to get a little bit of stimulation, we want to take advantage of that. All right, so now I'm going to scooch it over a little. I'm still propped up against the ball mound. I'm going to lean over it. I'm trying to let my toes kind of relax. I see the knuckle pop up a little because that ball is underneath it. And then I might a little side to side. And then all the way back. Let's keep scooching over. I think I've got one more scooch left. And a little side to side and relax. I don't want you to do anything aggressive. All right, so now I'm going to go more toward the arch. I'm going to let my foot drape over it. I'm going to lean into it only as far as it's tolerable. And I'm going to curl my toes and lift and spread them. Let's do a couple more. And then just relax here, maybe a little side to side. And breathe. Now, let's move over to the outer edge at the arch and do the same thing. I'm going to lean into it, and I'm going to curl and lift and spread. Our poor little feet. Two more. And then a little side to side. Breathe in and breathe out. Excellent. Now, go ahead and come back into your standing position. Close your eyes with your hands down and begin to notice what you feel. Maybe both of your feet feel stable. And maybe the alignment of your body feels a little bit different now. Does it feel like you're resting your feet against the floor in the same way you were before, or have things been better adjusted? Good. Now, let's come back to our surface here. I'm not going to hold on, but I know it's there. If you need to hold on, you're going to hold on. We are going to just stand in our position, close our eyes, bring our arms down by our sides, and lift all 10 toes off the ground. Maybe this doesn't feel quite as shocking as it did the first time. Maybe if you swayed a lot the first time, you feel a little bit more comfortable with your eyes closed and your toes up. Maybe your body didn't tense up as much as it did before. Maybe not. Now, I want you to take a nice deep inhale, and on the exhale, drop all 10 toes at once. Let your body sway a little bit and figure out what's what. And open your eyes. Beautiful. So now we're going to really rely on our standing position one more time, right? So I am going to put my weight on my right foot with my eyes open. My hands are going to be down for now, but I know where my safe counter is, and I'm going to elevate my left foot. Bum, 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 bum. 60 seconds. I'm actually was gonna look, but the second hand here isn't working. So I'm just gonna make up that I'm looking. I don't wanna be locked in my knee. So I'd rather have you be a little soft in the knee than locked in the knee for a whole variety of reasons. If this is hard for you, but you don't wanna put your hands down, you know, if you bring your hands out to the side, it provides a little counterbalance. But I'm going to try it down here. And then I'm going to come all the way down. Did you notice the work in that leg? Yeah, nothing wrong with that. All right, so now I'm going to do the other side. My eyes are open. I'm going to find a focal point in the wall, and I'm going to stand on one side. Now, you know what's coming after this, right? We're going to end our class by trying to do it with our eyes closed one more time. But don't worry, we're not there yet. We're still trying to use up our 60 seconds. Does anybody feel like their foot is wobbling them? That's your nervous system trying to get you wobbly enough that you'll put your other foot down. Don't fall for that. This is pleasure. And bring your foot all the way down. Shake it out. All right, now the hard part. Dum, bum, 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 bum. All right, I'm gonna find my focal point before I close my eyes. I'm going to stand up on my right foot. My left foot is off the ground, and I'm going to close my eyes. Think about being tall out of the saddle. Be confident. You know you've got that little space beside you. You don't need the counter to hold you up. If you feel wobbly, just tap your index finger down there. Touch your hands together. If you want to be challenged, don't touch your hands together. Breathe. And come all the way down. How did you do? One more side, and then you're done with me until tomorrow, because I really want you here with me tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to find my focal point on the wall. I'm going to stand on my left foot. I'm going to elevate my right foot just a little bit off the ground. Try and relax those hips and close your eyes. Aren't you glad you're not chewing gum? Ah, that would just make it that much harder. Tall out of the saddle. Confident, relaxed. Toes spread nice and wide. If you need a little help, tap that index finger down on the counter. Of course, you're allowed for more of that. If you need all 5 fingers down, go for it. If you need to play piano with your fingers, and that's the amount of information your nervous system needs, so be it. And bring that foot down and open your eyes. All right, you guys, you did a beautiful job. Today we worked a lot on body sense, which helps with our proprioception. We have a couple of things to practice safely at home as far as actual balancing. You're going to know that massaging those feet and spreading those toes and lining those feet up are going to help you. Go practice, drink enough water, and I'll see you here tomorrow. I'm really going to be looking for you. Bye.
Hi, Sally. Thank you very much to all of you who joined us for our very first Facebook Live/Zoom event. We're super excited you were here, and please join us again, same time, same link for those of you who have it. If you don't have it, please head over to Facebook and we will make sure you get it, or to our website, thecampusforcreativeaging.org. Thanks and have a great afternoon.